They prioritize sourcing as many ingredients as possible from local farmers. Check them out on South 2nd Street next to the Guthrie Theater, open Wednesday through Sunday. Visit farmerskitchenandbar.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hello, humans. Welcome to the Illegal Trans Woman. This is your host, Ellie Krug, speaking to you from Loring Park in Minneapolis, where there are at least 300,000 people walking around of all different sorts and types. It is a sight to behold. I am just thrilled to be talking to you live. This is a live show. And I'm just thrilled. We're on AM 950 in the Twin Cities and WCPT AM 820 in the Chicago area. And I want to make sure I thank our sponsors for this program and for all the programs here at AM 950 is doing during Pride weekend, because I am not the only show. We've been going live all day. I want to thank Planned Parenthood, Violet Wine and Spirits, and Amy Ruzak of No Place Like Home at Remax Results. And I am thrilled here because not only is it live, not only can you literally hear people in the background, but I have two of my very dearest friends here, Frank and Ryan. Frank and Ryan, welcome to the Legal Trans Woman.
Thank you for having us. We're excited.
I'm thrilled to have you here because I wanted to have you on the show to talk about a couple of things, including our delightful friendship, but we'll get to that in a second. But what I want to talk about first is both of you. Let's just give a little background. Both of you are married.
Yes.
Yep. What year did you get married?
2015. 14.
Wow.
Good thing we got it back up here.
All right. Yeah. Okay. First question. They failed. All right. So, both of you are gay men. You came out at different times in your lives.
Mm-hmm.
What does pride mean to you? Ryan, why don't you go first? What does pride mean to you? What significance does it have for you?
It's changed over the years. I'm old and, a curmudgeon now. So these days I look at it and it's all about representation and about being there to give, folks and kids who are coming up in areas and different parts of the world, the world, visibility to see that they are not alone and that it's okay to be who they are.
Okay to be. Yeah. I mean, if you're standing here, you're seeing, all ages. We're seeing a lot of, youth and some children. I mean, children as young. I talked to a little girl who is delightful and beautiful. She couldn't have been older than 3 or 4 years old, and parents are comfortable bringing their children here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for Ryan, it's representation. Frank, what does pride mean to you, honey?
I mean, like you said, we came out in different times. So, for me, it was starting out as being community and welcoming. And but now over the years, our friend Jason Shuck told me that it's like gay Christmas. Everybody comes together, everybody celebrates, everybody loves each other, everybody just is welcoming. It's just, but it's during summertime, no snow. So it's just a beautiful thing of just community of everyone coming together and just loving each other for who they are and not worrying about what's happening in the world of everything. So
gay Christmas, ho, ho, ho.
Well,
so Ryan, what year was it that you came out? And if you're comfortable, share a little bit about your coming out story and maybe about how difficult or easy it was for you.
I came out in 1999. I was in college. I came out to my friends first, which was pretty easy.
What state was your college in?
Wisconsin.
Okay.
So Eau Claire, Wisconsin, UW Eau Claire. And it was pretty easy. Most of my friends said, "Oh, honey, we already knew. Don't worry about it." Coming out to my family was a different story. That was a lot more difficult. That coming out story was in a heated fight with my father, and I just blurted it out, and everybody cried and drank, and it very tumultuous situation there.
Well, and that's not unusual, of course, for the queer community when we come out to our family and our relatives and friends. Frank, what year did you come out, and how easy or difficult was it for you?
I'm sorry. I was just thinking about. I forgot the year that you came out and how old I was then. But anyway, so coming out for me. I mean, it was. I mean, I was dating men at the same time, but secretly, and it was just. It was the moment that I remember Ryan telling me. We were sitting on his sofa house. He was like, "I don't think we can go anywhere in this relationship because you're not out." And it hit me where I was like, I really enjoyed spending time with this person. And thinking, why is it so different? Why do I have to hide? Why is it this strong feeling? It always felt like I should just be continuing to live my life. So I was like, screw this. I picked up my phone and I called my mom right away and started telling her, and he's like, what are you doing? And
sitting right next to me
on the sofa.
couch.
And I just told her, I was like, I'm dating a man. His name's Ryan. He makes me happy. And all she said was, Frank, does he make you happy? Or do you enjoy spending time with him? Do you like enjoy being with him? I was like, yes. She's like, that's all that matters then.
Oh my God.
And that's how the conversation went, where I was still like nervous a little bit, but I was more nervous to tell my dad. But in the end, my dad, when I told him, he's sat next to me and said, I don't understand it, but it doesn't matter because I love you. And I said, thank you, Dad. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, I mean, and so listeners, obviously, two different people with two different coming out stories, two different experiences. And I would dare say that in America today, both of those experiences are being replicated hundreds of thousands of times. You know, part of it depends on where you live.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, part of it depends on your religious upbringing, and a lot of it depends on politics, unfortunately.
A ton of it.
So let's shift to politics because, you know, it is June of 2026. We're about 6 years past Clarence Thomas in a dissent or in a concurring opinion with the Dobbs case.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, no, I don't. Maybe it's less than 6 years, but Clarence Thomas declaring that marriage equality is the next thing to go. That marriage equality needs to be taken off the table. And so we're living in a time where Donald Trump, and we can say this on this air, is an idiot.
Yep.
And but he's surrounded by sycophants who are much smarter than him. Russell Vought, the architect of Project 2025, has almost more power than anybody else in this country. How are the two of you feeling? I mean, as you listen to the news, as you see what's going on in our country, how confident are you about the sanctity of marriage for queer people in America, and what fears do you have?
So for me, I'm not fearful that my marriage is going to be taken away necessarily, right? That crosses my mind. It is a distinct possibility with everything else that's going on in this country. But I really think that the nation as a whole, even, you know, on the redder side of the fence, you know, they've come to understand that this is reality. I think that would be a major leap, but what they're doing to our trans brothers and sisters and what they're doing to vilify and target these people in the name of God knows what, that is some scary stuff. Can't say that enough. Stuff. When you look at them rounding up, you know, ICE rounding everybody up for nationality, you know, profiling, I don't think it's a far jump to come for the T in the LGBTQ community next. Scary.
It is very scary. As my listeners know, I mean, I'm a fearless advocate, but you have to be realistic about the risks. How about you, Frank? You are the more easygoing one in the relationship.
It is very true. So Ryan and watched more news, and I tend to stay away from as much as I can because I think it would just stress me out more, and I don't need more stress in my life. But knowing what's happening, and just as long as I'm staying to date on what's happening around or what's happening to my fellow friends, family, all that stuff, that is more important to me. But I'm not, I would say, like, I'm not super fearful because we we are so strong that we can fight back. We push back. Again, looking at all the people that are here right now, I mean, there's, like you said, hundreds of thousands of people here that it's just, I mean, the community is out there. So we know it's there. I feel like for some people that they don't really, either they don't, not that they don't care, but they're not mindful of it because it's not happening in their neighborhood. And when it does happen in their neighborhood, then it starts hitting them stronger. And that's where it's like, we just need to know that just because it's not happening in your backyard, know that it can happen, and we need to continue fighting so it doesn't happen.
Well, and I think another thing that we need to take note of is that we live in Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
And my Chicago listeners, you live in Illinois, where, in both states, LGBTQ rights are very solid. And that makes a difference. The problem is the federal government controls so much as it relates to benefits, as it relates to recognition across state lines, those types of things. And that's scary.
And they're doing everything they can to keep it as difficult as possible.
They are. Well, yeah, to make it even more difficult.
Yeah.
All right. I'm watching our time. We've got about 3 minutes. And I wanted to center on our relationship. I mean, the two of you are, shall we say, significantly younger than Ellie Krug. And I call you my gay boyfriends, but you're also like sons to me. I mean, I'm a parent of 2 daughters.
But you can hang with us. You did a couple weekends ago.
And she's a grandma now.
And you are a grandma now. Yes.
So what is it? I mean, because we know particularly in the gay community and in the lesbian community, acceptance of trans people isn't necessarily a given. And historically, that has certainly not been the case. What is it about our relationship? What is it about maybe Ellie Krug? And I'm looking for all kinds of praise right now. What is it about all of us that we can be so close? Because you are incredibly dear to me.
I don't know. I've never, we've got all the letters, right? LGBTQIA plus. The alphabet is there for representation, but I never really looked at it as you as my trans friend and you as my lesbian friend. You're just friends. The first time we met was by chance. We were looking at a condo unit next door to yours, and as we came out of our showing, you looked at us and said, "Are you going to be quiet if you become my neighbors?" And I was like, "Okay, I like her. She's sassy."
Yep. That was the moment that I was like, "Gosh, I hope we could be friends with her and live in this building."
Yeah.
And it worked out.
And it totally worked out.
Then you left us.
And then you left us to the
burbs. I moved out to purple red Carver County. Yes, but I'm doing God's work out in Carver County.
You are.
Yeah.
So how about you, Frank? I mean, again, you're so easygoing.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize.
Not that you aren't easygoing.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't realize. Like Brian said, I don't look at you as my trans friend, or I don't look at other people and that's my lesbian friend. I just look at you as a person, as a friend, or someone that is a caring. I look at you and go, Ellie is someone who will be there. Ellie is someone that is always showing up. Ellie is always out there supporting. That's the way I look at you. And so again, when we saw you in the hallway, I was like, oh my gosh, she's funny and she's sassy, like you said. But getting to know you more, it's like, you're just Ellie to me. You're Ellie.
The shared values that we have, the shared life outlook that we have, that makes us friends. I mean, it has
laugh and enjoy it. We enjoy each other's company, and we need more of it.
And we know how to laugh.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Especially you two together after a couple of glasses of Chardonnay.
We don't need to go down that road.
Gickle McGee's.
All right, listeners. Well, listen, I've been speaking with Frank and Ryan, incredibly dear friends to me. I just gave them a card where I said that I cherish them, which is absolutely true. And thank you, both of you. Thank you for having me in your life. Thank you for, you come and you help me with things around my house. I'm just incredibly grateful.
We love
Thank you for letting us be part of your family.
Yes, always.
Oh, it is family too. All right, listeners, we got to go. This is Ellie Krug. We're going to take a break. When we come back from our break, I've got more interviews. We're talking to you from Pride 2026 in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll be back in a second.
Hey, Francois, where are we going and why do you have so many canvas bags?
Salut, Laura. On y va chez Nicolette's Macarons.
Oh, I've never been to Nicolette's store. They're just off Highway 169 and 36th in Plymouth.
Oui, ils ont 16 saveurs de macarons là.
They have 16 flavors of macaroons at the store. That's why you have so many canvas bags. I love how Nicolette supports small food entrepreneurs. Let's hurry. They're open afternoons, Wednesday through Friday, and midday on Saturdays.
Nicolette, c'est génial. Allons-y.
Let's go.
There really is no place like home. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Home Health. When you're faced with an illness or an injury, being able to stay at home and receive care is important. Our home health offers a wide range of services, including skilled nursing, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, aides, homemakers, in-home respite care, and 24/7 live-in care. We'll work closely with your primary care provider to come up with an individualized plan for you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
At Planned Parenthood, they believe everyone deserves healthcare that respects their identity and their personal decisions. Whether you need gender-affirming care, STI testing, birth control, or an expert to answer your sexual health questions, they're here for you. They even offer select primary care. Many of Planned Parenthood's services are available by telehealth, or you can visit any of their 10 Minnesota health centers. You can learn more about Planned Parenthood's healthcare, educational programming, and advocacy work at ppncs.org or find them at Twin Cities Pride.
Violet Wine and Spirits celebrates Pride Month and is excited to be an AM 950 sponsor at Twin Cities Pride. For Violet, LGBTQ means family, creating community, welcoming into a safe place to be, where all are celebrated. We have a rainbow of wine and spirits and welcome a rainbow of our community. Visit Violet at 2435 Marshall Street, Northeast, Minneapolis. Join in the journey of heart, warmth, and delicious wine and spirits. And learn more at violetwinempls.com.
Amy Ruzick with No Place Like Home at RE/MAX Results is proud to sponsor AM 950's booth and all the incredible live broadcasts happening throughout Pride Weekend. Amy believes that real estate is about much more than just houses. As a dedicated agent, she educates, advocates, and gives back. Whether you're buying your very first home, selling your current property, or relocating to Minnesota for a fresh start, Amy offers the personalized guidance you need to find a space that truly fits your life, not just the housing market. With LGBTQ plus rights facing ongoing challenges in so many places across the country, Minnesota stands as a welcoming beacon. Amy is deeply proud to help both new arrivals and lifelong locals find exactly where they truly belong. Experience the difference of working with a dedicated agent who is deeply rooted in the community. Discover more at noplacelikehome.info. At No Place Like Home, Amy works tirelessly for her clients while serving the community she loves.
And we're back to the Illegal Trans Woman on AM 950 and WCPT 820 in Chicago. You're listening to me, Ellie Krug. We are at Pride, the largest free Pride festival in the country, maybe in the world. We have 600,000 people coming over the Pride weekend, and I am standing under a canopy, looking out at thousands of people walking by. It is just a sight to behold, and I am thrilled for our second round of guests. I have Isabella Tusani and Isabella's wife, Trish, who are here to speak and talk about what it means to be trans, what it means to be married in a marriage with a trans woman, and also to talk about a book that Bella has written. Okay, well, listen, before I do that, I need to make sure that I thank our sponsors, because listeners, we cannot have this show, we cannot have this station without sponsors. So I want to make sure I thank Planned Parenthood, Violet Wine and Spirits, and Amy Ruzick of No Place Like Home at RE/MAX Results. It is wonderful to have those sponsors. Your sponsors, thank you so very much. Okay, all right, Bella, welcome back to the Legal Trans Woman. We had you on the show earlier this year. Well, and you, Trish, were on the show earlier this year as well.
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Happy to be back. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
So let's start with an easy question. What does Pride mean for the two of you? Because you haven't always identified as LGBTQ plus, at least publicly. And so we'll get to your story in a second. But what does Pride 2026 mean to you, Bella?
Well, it's interesting because when I first came out, I had just turned 63 years old, and we were living in Florida. And Pride there is also big where we went in Fort Lauderdale area, but nothing like it is here. So I think when I first went to the very first Pride, it was awesome and amazing, and I don't think that I got the full meaning of it because it was just so new to me. But I think as I come back here and see what's going on in the Twin Cities, and especially today, it's just fantastic. It's just this feeling of sharing our vulnerability and just the awareness and joy. Just everybody just being themselves, being happy, and it's just wonderful to be a part of it.
And Ellie, excuse me, I'm older than Bella, and I grew up when gay was a horrible word. This is in the 60s and 70s.
Well, they didn't use the word gay then.
No, they did not.
No.
They did not.
Much more derogatory.
Yes, it was. And so I knew people who were gay as it is today, and to see the things that they had to go through. Friends of mine who ended up having AIDS and did not make it because there was no treatment or anything. So we've come a long way, and Pride to me is absolutely beautiful. It's something that should have been a long time ago, and it needs to continue. We need to continue.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So you have this relationship. The two of you are married. Bella, you came out
Yeah.
During this marriage as a trans woman, as a woman.
Yes.
Trish, and I've said this to you before, to the two of you, but particularly to you, Trish, it's not necessarily a given that the marriage would survive.
No.
Okay. And so, Bella, if you could take us back to, the moment when you essentially let Trish know what your true gender identity was, and share with the audience about how difficult that was. And then, Trish, I'm going to ask you about your reaction, okay? What year was this? How long ago?
Okay, this was in 2016, and I had Trish had been gone for about 3 weeks at our place in Florida. We were living in Illinois at the time, and I started seeing a therapist. I mean, so it was really new to me what I had discovered my reality, that I had to finally face this, and I found out that this is really who I am. It's time to stop messing around with it. But once accepting it myself and finally getting to that point, I had to deal with when Trish came back home. And, a therapist said, take your time, let her get home, let her relax, have a conversation with her maybe the next day. Well, she didn't get her luggage down before I told her, listen, I've been in therapy. I've got some information to share with you. I didn't know how she was going to take it. I had no idea. It was like jumping off of a cliff. And
how long you'd been married at that point?
We were approaching 2016. A few months after that was actually our 30th anniversary.
Oh,
so
my
we've been married
goodness.
a long time.
Yeah. Long time.
Long time.
Okay. And so, Trish, you hear this.
I did. I got there. I didn't, like I said, I didn't have my bags put down, and I heard this, and I was shocked. I mean, I like, what do we do? What is this? Is this going to be the end of our relationship? Are we going to get divorced? What's going to happen? I don't know what to do. And it was funny because Bella kind of kept after me. She wouldn't let me down. Well, what do you think? What do you think? Come on, let's talk about this. And it was like, no, I have to really stop and think. And so,
as the therapist said, process things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
And so it was tough for a few days, and we did. I just needed to have some time to be by myself, to just think about this. And she finally let me do that, and we ended up at that point getting ready to go to her therapist so that I could talk with her too. But it was not easy. It was very difficult at the time because it's a whole new world, and what do we do?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
and it's a whole new dynamic. What is this going to mean not only to our marriage, but what does it mean to other people? How do they see her? What does she become to our friends and to everyone? So socially, it's a completely different.
Whole different thing. And I know that from past experience, you lost some people.
Absolutely. Some family, but a lot of friends that some of our friends are a specific type of religion, and their religion does not accept us. And so even though we had known them for many, many years and had helped them go through college, they stopped talking to us. And so those are the people we realized that weren't important. We had other people who were important and who loved us, and that was what we needed to focus on.
Well, and listeners have heard my story where I've talked about losing people as well, and it's unfortunate because all this is about Bella, you living authentically, you living as truly how you are. And Trish, once Bella transitioned, did you see a brightening of her spirit? Did you see, someone who seemed to be much happier in her skin?
It took a little while because it's new and it's scary, and how do you react to people that are around you? But yes, there was a relaxation, there was a calmness, there was a joy that was with her, and we were able to, at that point, I mean, when you've been together that long and we could finish each other's sentences, that kind of thing, when you get to that point, you know that the love is the most important thing, and it doesn't matter if she's a woman, a man, if she's fat, skinny, it doesn't matter. It matters what's in her heart, what's in her soul, and I love her for that.
That is so incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, and absolutely, I agree with that. I think it's like the greatest test of love between two people, because you're really just putting something out there that is just totally out of nowhere, and to survive it, I think we're both pretty happy that we did stay together.
And it was, that was when Caitlyn Jenner had just come out, and the politics were not like they are right now, and so it was very different. And so there was more welcoming and more accepting. But as Bella said, we had to leave our state and our house in Florida because it just was not for us.
Absolutely. And I remember when I came out in 2009, and by that point, my wife and I had already divorced because, in part, I wanted to date men, and she had made clear that she did not want to be married to a woman. So, all of that. But I'm remembering in 2009, it was far rarer that marriages would survive someone transitioning genders.
Absolutely.
Much rarer. But today in 2026, I keep encountering a whole lot of couples like yours where, yes, this was surprising news, but where the couples have stayed together. Again, I think because of love, right?
Absolutely. Love has no color. It has no size. It has nothing. It's what you feel in your heart. It's what you feel when you see the other person, and it's one of the most beautiful things ever. I can't imagine being in a relationship where I didn't love someone.
Yeah, and I think 10 years ago, in 2016, as compared to now, I think my therapist told me that it was lucky if 50% made it. So I'm glad to hear that more people are doing that now. I wasn't aware that it was getting better. I'm glad, though.
No, I think it is. I think absolutely. I'm meeting more and more couples that have stayed together.
Yeah.
All right. So, Bella, let's talk about what's going on right now with transgender people. We had Frank and Ryan on earlier, my dear friends, and Ryan was very quick to talk about being worried about what's going on with transgender people. You and I are not all that different in age, and certainly the decades that we grew up. And now we're seeing, unlike 2016, because it was with that campaign that the attacks on transgender people presidential campaign, that attacks with transgender people started really to begin. And of course, they went into earnest in 2024, and boy, they're still picking them up right now.
Oh, it's
so. How are you doing mentally? I mean, how are you dealing with the onslaught? Which because on Tuesday probably we're going to hear the Supreme Court rule that transgender athletes can be banned by states. So how are you doing?
Well, you know what? That is a good question, because it varies from day to day. There are days when I'd say probably the best example of the worst day that I can think of recently was when the President of the United States is behind his little desk, and he's always holding up these big declarations that he signs that are the size of a Cheesecake Factory menu, and he's talking about terrorism, and he signs an anti-terrorist bill that is anti-ISIS, anti-Hamas, whoever it is that he's put terrorist organizations, and he included in that list the radical transgender
ideology
people, just like the ones that killed my friend Charlie Kirk. So all of a sudden, all transgender people we're terrorists, we're killers, and when people say that kind of stuff, and if it's just someone, you just say, this person is just, they're crazy. They have the right to be crazy, fine. But when it's the president of the United States, they hit you hard. And I was so upset I could hardly breathe. Trish and I were both saying, we got to look at Canada or something because this is getting too out of hand.
Right. Well, that's why we have the show. That's why the Illegal Trans Women exist, in order to advocate for our community.
Yeah.
Trish, when you hear this stuff, how are you reacting?
Well, there was in Florida before we left. Is that me?
You're all right. Go ahead.
In Florida, before we left, one of the representatives in their House in the Senate is a black man, and he was talking to a group of trans young people, and he said to them, "You people are not of my God. You are demons. You are mutants. You are Frankensteins." And this is what he said to these people. I mean, what right does he have to say that? A black man who,
historical oppression. Yeah.
Can I put that in context a little bit? You mind?
Sure. Oh, okay. I didn't tell the bathroom stuff. You tell that.
No. It's really that this man was the head of the Republican Party in Florida in the state legislature when they were debating this bill he was trying to pass, and there were trans people in the audience, and the bill was called the Safety in Public Spaces, and the bathroom laws, dressing rooms, locker rooms, and not just like school kids. This was all trans people, trans adults. And he basically was saying, I'm looking at the people in this audience, and I feel like I'm watching an X-Men movie. Freaks, mutants, godless, whatever.
It was very sad. So that's when we decided we had to leave.
Voted on the bill and passed it, so that's when we decided we had to leave Florida. Mm-hmm. So we came back to Minnesota, and now we're kind of seeing the same thing happening with the federal government. So it's
Well, absolutely. And of course the federal government has so much more power. So in some essence, I mean, I know that you had some flexibility because you had homes sort of in two different places, but you became refugees as well.
Yes, we did.
Because going back to Florida and living there even for a short period of time is off the table.
Yeah.
You can't go back even to visit because it's when you drive down the street, all you see are MAGA flags and the red hats and everything. And
pickup trucks with 12 flags on them and MAGA signs and everything else. But the sad thing is we had a lot of good friends there, a lot of close people. And matter of fact, I'm doing a live Zoom meeting for my book tomorrow with our ex-church in Florida for a Pride event. So,
but we're proud to be here in Minnesota. We're proud to be a part of the community that is open and willing to accept and love people. That's who we are, and that's what we're grateful for. And so we're grateful for friends like you, Elaine, for being here with all of these wonderful people.
Well, thank you for being here. Bella, before we go, you do have a book out. Tell listeners what the book name is and where can they get it?
Oh, the title of the book is The Uninvited Passenger, and it is about my journey as a trans person from growing up in the late 50s, early 60s when I was a little kid, and the struggles that I had because there was absolutely no outlet, nowhere to turn for anything. So it's a story of not only that journey, but the journey was when I met Trish and staying together. So it becomes a love story as well. And you can get it on Amazon, Ingram Park. So,
People who read it laugh, they cry, they want to hug us. It's beautiful.
And listeners, I have the book, and it's a fascinating book. It really is.
Thank you.
And so is yours. I've read your book.
Yes,
that's wonderful too.
All right, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did want to say one more thing, because there was one of the things, if you just have a minute, that you talked about was.
I've got about 20 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I'll let it go.
No, go ahead.
No, it's really about the difference between growing up then and growing up now. And you asked, are you maybe a little bit jealous? And it's yes. Even though there's a lot going on, there's more of a support system and at least some understanding.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I'm hopeful for kids.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thrilled for our young trans kids and youth, but I'm jealous of the fact that they get to do it May sooner than
I
got to do it.
Yeah.
All right, listeners. Well, we've been speaking with Bella and Trish Tusane. Make sure you pick up Trish's book. Bella's book, The Uninvited Passenger, wherever you get your books. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got me speaking about some news that happened here in the Twin Cities just on Friday. You're listening to me, Ellie Krug, on the Illegal Trans Woman on AM 950 and WCPT 820 in Chicago.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This Pride Month, discover all the ways your public library celebrates and supports LGBTQ plus communities. Visit MELSA at booth 212 during the Twin Cities Pride Festival, June 27th and 28th in Loring Park. Share your favorite LGBTQ plus reads, browse recommendations from fellow attendees, pick up free buttons and bookmarks, and connect with local librarians. Explore the Metro Pride book list featuring books for all ages and identities. Find your next great read and learn more at melsa.org/pride-booklist.
Amy Ruzick with No Place Like Home at REMAX Results is proud to sponsor AM 950's booth and all the incredible live broadcasts happening throughout Pride Weekend. Amy believes that real estate is about much more than just houses. As a dedicated agent, she educates, advocates, and gives back. Whether you're buying your very first home, selling your current property, or relocating to Minnesota for a fresh start, Amy offers the personalized guidance you need to find a space that truly fits your life, not just the housing market. With LGBTQ plus rights facing ongoing challenges in so many places across the country, Minnesota stands as a welcoming beacon. Amy is deeply proud to help both new arrivals and lifelong locals find exactly where they truly belong. Experience the difference of working with a dedicated agent who is deeply rooted in the community. Discover more at noplacelikehome.info. At No Place Like Home, Amy works tirelessly for her clients while serving the community she loves.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Today, sunshine with a high of 83, then tonight, cloudy with a low of 65. Farmer's Kitchen and Bar connects the local harvest directly to downtown Minneapolis. They prioritize sourcing as many ingredients as possible from local farmers. Check them out on South 2nd Street next to the Guthrie Theater, open Wednesday through Sunday. Visit farmerskitchenandbar.com.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
And we're back. Ellie Krug with the Illegal Trans Woman speaking to you from Loring Park in downtown Minneapolis with hundreds of thousands of people out for Pride. We are talking about a collection of humans that is... you're not going to find this anywhere else. Certainly not in the Midwest. And it's just fantastic. Okay. I've had a number of guests and Frank and Ryan, so incredibly dear to me. I was not kidding when I said they're like my sons. And then Bella and Trish talking about so eloquently about what it means to have this loving relationship, even though you get pushed, like you get a curveball about a partner coming out as transgender. You could hear the love between them. And it's not a given. It's just not a given. But in today's world, particularly with what's going on, but you know what? One of the great things about living in Minnesota, and the reason that I live in Minnesota, the reason I live close to the Twin Cities, is because of all of the diversity. It just so warms my heart whenever I come into the city, because I live out in a red to purple county, which is a whole lot of white straight people. And I'm out there to do work. I'm out there for representation purposes. But boy, when I come back into the cities, it always warms my heart because this is my community. So I am thrilled to be talking to you again, and I want to make sure that I give a shout out to our sponsors, Planned Parenthood, Violet Wine and Spirits, and Amy Ruzick of No Place Like Home at Remax Results. Thank you, sponsors, for supporting AM 950, allowing shows like mine, allowing us to be at Pride, allowing our folks to be paid for very, very important work. Now, I want to touch on a couple of different subjects. One of those subjects is, if you have read my second book, Being Ellen, A Second Chance at Life, you will get to a couple of vignettes in that book where I write first about auditioning in a variety of ways to become a writer for Lavender Magazine. Lavender Magazine, until Friday of this week, was the largest LGBTQ publication between Chicago and Denver. It was, in many ways, the magazine goes back to, I believe, 1991. The magazine was the forerunner of LGBTQ rights across the state in a variety of ways. I auditioned and essentially wrote my way onto that magazine in 2012. And I was a columnist for that. I had a column titled Skirting the Issues, a monthly column. I must have written more than 100 columns until 2022, when I quit the magazine. Now, the magazine was LGBTQ plus centered. For a long time, I was the only transgender writer that the magazine had, certainly the only one that had a monthly column. And as things progressed with the transgender community, so in 2012, being transgender was still unusual, but it wasn't reason for political or even mainly religious pushback. It was unusual, but people were very accepting. People were like, well, I don't know what it means to be transgender. Come talk to us and tell us about it, and we can have a conversation. But as time, and so Skirting the Issues, the column initially was about me writing about engaging with the world as a trans woman, with, a woman who looks like a woman but sounds like a guy. And so I wrote about everything from, where I like to get my car washed, to me encountering people on the street, to taking airplane rides and sitting next to somebody and striking up a conversation. But as time went on, and as the country became far less tolerant and far more intolerant of transgender people, my writing changed. It became far less about daily interactions, what it meant on a daily basis to live as me, and became more frequent speaking about political issues, about things that presidential candidates were saying in 2016. And then, of course, after Donald Trump was elected, things that Donald Trump and the people around him were trying to do with transgender people, to transgender people. And my columns necessarily then became more focused on trying to protect my community, particularly trans and queer children and youth, about speaking up for them, because many, they don't have people speaking up for them. And as my columns became more politically oriented, more advocate oriented, I started to encounter problems with the publisher of Lavender Magazine, who will remain unnamed. There was one occasion in 2020 where I wrote a column. It was about trying to protect trans people, but it was also calling out Donald Trump, calling out his administration. And word came back from my editor that column would not run. It was not going to run because the column was too political. If you know Ellie Krug, you know that she doesn't just sit back and take stuff like that. So I demanded a meeting with the publisher of Lavender Magazine. And thankfully, my editor went with me. And I will tell you, I sat, and this is recounted in my book, Being Ellen, I sat for over an hour being mansplained by the publisher, who was a gay man, who also had a military record, being mansplained by him about how the world worked and about how, it was important for military service and a variety of other things, but essentially speaking down to me. Only after about 45 minutes did I get an opportunity to speak. And I made my case for why that column should run. And my editor helped. But the publisher sat back. He said, I don't know. He said, I'm going to go walk my dog. And I'm going to think about whether your column should run. Well, thankfully, he walked his dog. Something good must have happened because the word came back that the column would run. And so it did. 2 years later, again, the rhetoric against transgender people and trans kids and youth in particular was ratcheting up. States were passing laws against trans health care, gender affirming care for trans kids and youth. I wrote another column about advocating, protecting those kids. I talked about going in, that it was a black void that my community was being asked to enter, with all the hatred, with all the vitriol. And again, different editor at this point. I got the word, column is too political. We're not going to run. This is not a political magazine. This is a life and leisure magazine. The editor pleaded with me and said, Ellie, you can only write life and leisure now. No more politics. And my response back was, it is an LGBTQ plus magazine. I mean, if we're not going to advocate for our community in this magazine, nobody's going to do it. And it was at that moment where I said I had enough. By then, I had been writing for Lavender on a monthly basis for 10 years. And I said to my editor, I said, you know what this means, right? You know I have to quit. And the editor said, I understand, Ellie. I know that you are not a life and leisure writer. And with that, I quit. I sent off a letter to the publisher telling him what I thought. And that was it. I came to hear today from the first editor I told you the story about, who helped me with my sitting with the publisher. I heard from her today about how the publisher was never actually a fan of transgender people, and how my editor had to repeatedly argue why it was important that my column run in Lavender magazine. I did not know this until today. And Andy, I just want to say to you publicly, thank you. Thank you for being a champion of trans people. Thank you for being a champion of Ellie Krug's writing. Thank you for standing up for my community at a time when certainly one of the most powerful people in our community, at least from an influencer standpoint, wasn't willing to do that for my community. So it is with great sadness. I mean, this is the Lavender magazine shut down on Friday. It put a bunch of people out of work without notice. It is rippling across our community that this magazine in Pride weekend is shut down. That's it. It's gone. And there are a lot of people right now, a lot of writers, a lot of alumni of Lavender magazine, a lot of readers who are shell-shocked that this magazine has gone away. And so now in the Twin Cities, we are left without a print magazine or an online magazine, for that part, of the quality and of the reputation of Lavender magazine. It is just, I just cannot talk about it any more than that. It's just, I have friends on Lavender who have lost their jobs, and my heart goes out to them. It really, really does. And it's just, okay, that's all I'm going to say about it. All right. You heard me speak on a separate subject. If you're transgender, you're always wondering about what is over the horizon. What is next for our community? What is the next thing that the Trump administration or the Supreme Court or God knows who else, states like Texas or Florida, what is the next thing they are going to do to transgender people? And so I have been waiting ever since last fall, where 2 cases were argued before the Supreme Court. Both of them involve transgender athletes. One involves a college athlete out of Idaho, who Idaho law prohibited her from participating in female athletics, according to her gender identity. The other case is out of West Virginia, and at the time involved a middle schooler who is now a high schooler, a trans athlete, trans girl, who is a track and field runner. And I think the first case, the college case, is also somebody who is track and field. And both of those cases were argued last fall. Comments from the Supreme Court during oral arguments suggested that they were not inclined to protect the rights of either of those trans athletes. I've been waiting for the last 2 months because the Supreme Court starts issuing decisions come about April. I've been waiting for the decision on those 2 cases to come out. I thought that for sure that it would have come out yesterday on Friday. It did not. And so I'm anticipating that the next opinion day for the Supreme Court is Tuesday, possibly Wednesday on the 1st would be the last day for Supreme Court decisions. So the next time you hear my voice on AM 950, we will have the results of those cases. I do not expect those cases to come out favorably for the athletes. That's the legal ruling. I'm more worried, more concerned about what the justices are going to say to justify their decision, what they're going to say about what it means to be transgender, what they're going to say about whether being transgender is even something that is real. Alito, I don't have enough time to get into all of my opinions about the justices, but I'm just going to tell you there is great apprehension in my community right now. There's also great apprehension with Ellie Krug. So it's mind-boggling. But this is the thing. This is what it means to be transgender in America right now. Always wondering, what is next? What's going to happen? What will they come up with next? What will be the next thing that will diminish you as a human being? Okay, well, listen, everyone. I have loved broadcasting to you from Pride in Minneapolis, Twin Cities Pride in Loring Park in Minneapolis. I need to give a big thanks to my 2 producers today, Greg and Brett. You guys did great. I really appreciate it. We'll be back. I'll talk to you next week. You're listening to me, Ellie Krug, on The Illegal Trans Woman. Over and out.